So, as the channel hits 90,000 subscribers, which it is set to do today, I wanted to do something different. And I've had some Jersey video ideas out there, but I haven't really been able to flesh those out to a point where I could say, yeah, I can do that, including the countdown that some people are waiting for. Believe me, the longer you wait, the longer the countdown's going to get. People will understand why. So, what I wanted to do is look at the top 10 videos when it comes to view counts on the channel, and just how it shows that when I do videos, I don't necessarily do it for, and people have accused me of, you're just doing this for views. There are things that work if you want to get views, but for me, I want to make sure I'm covering everything, covering all the teams, and covering what's going on in the hockey world as much as I can, which means for people who are waiting for me to talk about the World Championships, I'm exhausted at this point in the season. Usually by the time the Stanley Cup rolls around and is come and gone, there's a part of me that goes, okay, now I can depressurize. And then I have fun with like draft videos and free agency videos. And then by around September, I'm like, all right, now I'm ready for some hockey. Well, who am I kidding? Early August. So top 10 videos when it comes to view counts overall on this channel since it started. And what you find out is in the top 10, there's 3 from 2017. 1, 2, 3, 4 from 2018, and there's already 3 from this year. So that means, as the channel gets bigger, of course, view counts are going to likely go up per video. And that's always interesting to me because I'm always kind of thrown off. Now, number 10 from August of 2017 is top 10 first round draft mistakes since 2000, which I did August of 2017. So that's a video that's getting close to 2 years old, and it's at 60,000 views. 60,233. If anybody wants to verify, how do you just go into a channel, you click on videos, and then you go to most viewed instead of most recent, and all of them come up. So I don't really need to create like a playlist. That would just seem redundant. But the draft mistakes one is interesting because that was when I was trying to talk about things that I felt that maybe weren't getting covered as much as I thought they should. And I was doing top 10 lists semi-regularly. I haven't done a top 10 list since last summer when Claude Giroux is the best center and best goaltender in the league. And for people who don't get that reference, yes, he's a winger, and I know he's a winger. But yeah, so the top 10 draft mistakes, that one has 29 downvotes currently. And I always look at the downvotes. The downvotes are always interesting, and I'll come back to that. Number 9 from June of 2018 is the 2018 NHL Draft first round recap. You can't really go wrong with draft videos, is what I've learned over the last 3 years. This was the 4th year I did the lottery reaction video. And honestly, you just can't go wrong with it. It is kind of a no-brainer in terms of when people would ask me going up to this year's draft, like, are you going to do the live reaction again? Yeah. So at 9, you've got the draft, the first round recap, which has 60,430 views, 19 downvotes. And I like the fact that it's got less downvotes, but it doesn't necessarily surprise me that it has less. At number 8, Leafs fallout to come. League apologizes to the Golden Knights. News of the day. That was, of course, only a couple of weeks ago. That's at 60,718 views, and it has 48 downvotes. Anytime I talk about Toronto, downvotes. Guaranteed. Every time, downvotes. It's become kind of a running gag in the house here where I'll do a video and I'll give a downvote count to Yvonne. And as soon as it hits double digits early, she's like, you talked about Toronto, didn't you? I'm like, yeah. And I get why there's people that would likely downvote it because they're like, oh, he's doing this for views. And the people who would downvote it saying he's a Bruins fan. He can't talk about Toronto. He's a Bruins fan. That's not allowed. And that Leafs video, that's 60,718. So 60,000 is a nice even total, and I like that. At number 7, my 10 picks for the worst NHL contract, which is from March of last year, 63,484. And it has 41 downvotes because it's a controversial, very subjective title, right? So it's what I think is a bad contract. You might look at and say, it's not that bad. Lucic is, who are we kidding, right? But again, you're going to expect to see some downvoting when it comes to opinion. And that's the thing. I try to weigh, like, giving the news of the day and doing previews and review videos, which die right away. This is why I still throw in evergreen videos, because the evergreen videos are the ones that months and months later I'll look at and go, wow, that's actually done really, really, really well. It didn't do well when I posted it. Like, even the top 10 picks for NHL's worst contract, when I posted it, it was just another video. But because of the title, because of the subject matter, it is guaranteed to perform. So I'm not going to do an updated version of that until I would think like probably March of next year, because some of those bad contracts probably coming off the books, and there'll probably be more bad contracts to talk about. At 6, from this year as well, let's talk about the Sharks and Knights crazy game 7. 67,009 views, 87 downvotes on that, because of course Vegas fans very unhappy with how that one turned out, and I don't blame them for being upset, even though I understand why the referees did what they did, and we're still talking about it. And I have a large number of subscribers in Vegas, a lot of Golden Knights fans in Vegas, and just in general. And so it's tough for me to see Vegas out on the business side of it, because I know there's views I'm not getting because Vegas is out. But at the same time, I don't. If you've noticed, I don't go to the well and try to do all these extra videos on Vegas, which I could, and I could probably just find some level, but it's not. I can't. And so that's a video that likely still going to have some legs to it, because that game is going to be remembered forever. What happened in that game is going to be remembered for all time. At number 5 is How Bad Is It, Montreal Canadiens. So I did the How Good Is It, How Bad Is It series last summer, where for the teams that I felt had missed the playoffs and likely miss again, how bad is it? For teams that made the playoffs and probably are going to make it again, how good is it? And then for teams that I felt were right on the margin, I had how good/bad is it? And then I got into the roster. I just did a general overview, and here's where they're at. Here's what I think they need to improve, that kind of thing. Now, the Montreal one became very popular because I said basically Montreal's offense was a problem. I talked about Bergevin, this kind of thing. And early in the season, of course, Montreal gets off to a really good start. And there were a lot of Montreal fans going, this hasn't aged well. This hasn't aged well. This has aged really badly. You going to do an update? You need to do an updated version on this. This video is making you look bad. And my reaction to that was, it's early in the season. We'll see where they are at the end of the year. And then that would affect the kind of video I do next summer. The funny thing is, when this summer's series starts, I am much more likely to be very generous to my belief that Montreal could very well get back to the playoffs. I think this year was a stepping stone, and I think next year they could absolutely get back in, dependent on the health of Carey Price and what they do at the backup position. So, at number 4 is the playoff preview from Boston versus Toronto this year. Oh, the Montreal one has 65 downvotes. Like I said, there were a lot of Montreal fans that didn't like me doing that. There were 83 downvotes on the playoff preview of the Bruins versus the Maple Leafs, 81,173 views. It is not a lie that when the Leafs got eliminated from the playoffs, I witnessed a large decline, and so would any other hockey-related channel. If the Leafs ever went on a nice, long, extended run, it would benefit people with my job greatly, and it would benefit the sports networks as well. You'd see tremendous ratings. I would even say that the ratings in the States might do pretty well if the Toronto Maple Leafs, a big-name team, were on a run that nobody had seen for decades. So, yeah, as a Bruins fan, I'm glad to see there's a video with the Bruins in it that's top 10, but it doesn't surprise me that it was the series preview between the Leafs and the Bruins, and it doesn't surprise me there's 83 downvotes. As I said, as a Bruins fan, that's not automatic. Anytime there's a Bruins game, I'm like, yeah, there's going to be some downvoting going on. Even if during the regular season Boston was on a nice winning streak, I'd be like, yeah, people aren't going to be happy with me right now. Like I have anything to do with it. At 3, NHL attendance now versus 2 years ago. So this one is from December of 2017, and this is one of those ones that caught me off guard. So it's at 83,858. It's got 65 downvotes. And for people who are going, why doesn't he talk about the upvotes? The upvotes are excellent. 1,422 for that one. For the Toronto Maple Leafs Boston preview, 1,966. It's that I can see when I look at the downvotes, like how many people are either irritated by the subject matter or just, I can't believe this guy's covering this. Now, NHL attendance is always tricky. Now, I did sort of an updated version of that video a week ago because this one's from December of 2017, and I felt that there was enough data since that video that I could chop off data that was covered in that video, cover it a little bit differently, and say, all right, here's sort of an updated look from a different point of view where I just talked about the top and the bottom, not just the whole thing. And it really shocked me. I remember that was one of those videos that it felt like YouTube has a program where as a channel gets bigger, they will sometimes just promote a video. They'll promote a video from one of those YouTube channels that's right on the verge of perhaps breaking through, and that I think is what happened there. Because I was trying to figure out, and I know videos get posted to Reddit, but that's not one that had a Reddit bounce. It felt like YouTube was promoting it more. And I like that video. I am glad that I did an updated version of it, and that was one of those ones that went, wow. Now at number 2, from July of 2017, so almost 2 years ago, and it's almost old enough where I say, I could think about it. And I've had people say you should update it. And it's the odds of any NHL team being moved, and I put quick look, because it's only a 9-minute video. 206,691 views, 225 downvotes, 2,814 upvotes. The ratio's pretty good. There's a lot of downvotes because, again, it feels like you're picking on Arizona when you talk about Arizona potentially being moved. It feels like you're picking on Florida, and it feels like you're picking on Carolina. And so for me doing that video, I know I went into it saying I don't think anybody's getting moved, and I came out of it going, eh. And it's 2 years later, and I would argue we're no closer to anybody necessarily getting moved. If I mention Arizona, there will be Arizona fans that come in and say, no, there's no way they get moved. If Barroway sells the team, it will only be on the idea that whoever buys it won't move the team. Problem being, at some point in time when you're trying to sell, you may have to say, okay, I'll just take the offer. I'm aware you're probably going to, this sucks. I really don't want to see the team move, but I have to try to get some money back on my investment. So that one at 206,000 views blows my mind. And then at number 1 is the 2018 NHL Entry Draft live reaction video from last year, which is a 3-hour, 55-minute, and 5-second video. 241,974 views. 175 downvotes, 1,542 upvotes. And what I remember of that live stream was how insane it was. That live stream, and then the one on July 1st, that's the reason why I went so long before I did another live stream. Because those live streams were absolutely crazy bonkers. And it was a long time before I did another public live stream on the channel after those two, which were right about a week within each other, right? So live streams are fun, and I know people like interacting, and I'm going to do them more regularly going forward than I did this past 12 months. But at the same time, they can just be crazy. And then I feel bad for people that ask their questions, and I don't see it. And Yvonne, who's usually going through the questions, she may not see it. And then I just feel bad afterwards. So that video being the most popular, we'll see if it ends up getting challenged. But as the channel hits 90,000, I thought it would be fun to look back on the top 10 most popular and give you guys my opinion on it. Videos that are always popular are ones on teams, will they get moved? If it involves Toronto, if it involves Vegas, they will always get a lot of views. There are certain American teams that get views as well. Like, for instance, and I'll mention this as sort of a closing point. St. Louis may very well garner a lot of eyeballs in the States. Might be one of the bigger markets. What I found on the channel is when I talk about the Blues, those videos don't necessarily perform as well as almost any video about a Canadian team. And Senators videos, I'm really surprised there aren't Senators videos that are in the top 10, because the absolute sheer tire fire we've seen over the last year has been insane. I think if I went into the top 30, we would see a couple of the videos from around the Carlson time, and just the Hoffman, Carlson, all of that. But watch, keep your eyes open for top 10 lists coming up. I was going to do one at the end of the season talking about the top 10 stories of the NHL season, but I'm glad I didn't. Because of that game 7 between San Jose and Vegas, and because of the fact that Toronto lost in 7 in the first round against Boston, again, I think that saving it until after the playoffs and doing like top 10, maybe top 20 stories of the entire NHL season over the last 12 months, I think that makes more sense. But thank you guys so much for all your support. Thanks to everybody who shared videos, all the comments, and even to the people who downvote and criticize. Because there have been times where I totally understand it. There after and a good example of that would be after Boston beat Toronto in 7, and I had to do the review of Game 7. I was like, oh man, this is awful, and I did feel bad, and I don't know how many people will believe that, but I did. I thought this feels awful. I'm a Bruins fan, and it's going to look, no matter how stoic I am, no matter how emotionless I might appear to be, it's going to look like gloating on my part. So I have definitely changed my view on hockey in general thanks to this channel, and which videos perform well and which ones don't, and some of the interactions I have with people on the channel. Big driving forces behind that. But we'll see how this list looks at a later date. Thank you guys so much for helping me get to 90,000. And we will have plenty of hockey stuff to talk about going forward. And very soon. There are 2 different jersey video ideas I have going. I want to do one on rebranding mistakes NHL teams have made. Because I have so many different jerseys, I can go through and basically say, these are where teams made a mistake when they changed their jerseys. And I want to do a video as well on jerseys that were considered ugly and unwearable at the time that they were worn in the NHL. And now collectors love them. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Those of you that have. For those that haven't, go ahead. Just do it. Wherever the subscribe button's over here, do it. Just do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. And I'll talk to you again soon.